Welcome back to Kidsplaining. I'm Allison, this is Daniel, and today we're going to take a look at Gartenbau by David Abelson and Alex Johns, and this is on Kickstarter now, being published by 25th Century Games.
Yep, so in Gartenbau, you are rival gardeners trying to garden the best and build your best garden. You have the board here that has seedlings, then you have plants, and then you have flowers, which everyone starts with 5 flowers at the beginning of the game. The flowers give you different points for things. This one gives you 6 prestige just for planting it or for having it like on your board. And then 2 prestige per green seedling or plant, which would be these guys right here.
Some of seedlings.
Some of them just give you outright prestige points for having them planted in your garden. Others require other things in order to get points. During the game, you are going to take turns moving 1 seedling over clockwise if there's another person already on it, which we are on these spots, so that's confusing. You move 1 seedling clockwise. If someone else is on it, you would jump over that person and go to the next one. You can pay 1 resource in order to skip one. Let's say you really want to get here. I could skip this one, and I would just leave a resource on that tile. When I land on the tile, I can either take the seedling packet, or I can take the resources below it. And during your turn, you basically move and either take the resources of the seedling, or you go to these dots and you either plant a plant, or you do one of your flower tiles, put it in your garden. And it's kind of hard to see, it's small, but these tell you what they have to be planted on. So this has to be planted on 2 green plants or a dark blue and yellow. So like this one is on the purples there. This one is on the 2 dark blues. That's the whole game. You play until 4 of these tiles have been exposed. This is the game we just finished playing. We put these 4 out after we finished so that you could see how the board looked set up from overhead. But you play until 4 of the stacks are gone, and then you finish the round and go to so that everyone has the same number of turns.
Yep. I will say the aesthetics of this game are so lovely. It feels like you're playing together, but the only time that you're actually interacting with each other is here on the sunflower when you're jumping along the petals. Every other time, you are focused on your garden and your garden only. I'm not paying attention to what Daniel's doing.
Although probably should have, because if you notice how much green I have over here is why the score of this game was 126 to 91.
Yeah. And I was actually proud of my 91.
I forgot to mention one thing about the plants up here. They cost resources to buy, which you get from these spots. And the deeper you go in that stack,
the more expensive
they are. And they also, if they're uncovered, like this one right here, gets me points at the end of the game. It gets me 5. These that are covered by a tile don't get you any points. You only get points for the top layer.
I will say that plays along with strategy as well, because I noticed, like, in the first games, we wanted to kind of get all the seedlings out and then start purchasing. But if someone else is playing and they're going ahead and going to the market and purchasing their plants and putting on them, now when I need this plant, it's way more expensive. It does give me more prestige, but I'm still planning on putting my flowers on it, so I don't get those prestige points. They're only counted if they're still exposed. These under here, that's 5 and 5 prestige, but that's not counted because I've got this 20 prestige, which is good. But if I am utilizing my market by trying to plant those on top, I'm not even utilizing how expensive those were, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and there is a whole set of tiles in there that are advanced that have way more complicated scoring
variants. And you draft those.
These are the simple ones. These are the starter ones. Everyone pretty much has the same. One of them is going to be 6 prestige plus 2 for a certain color. Correct. One is going to be for holes in your garden, and then the others are going to be just straight prestige.
I will say the holes bothered me because I don't like having holes. I liked everything nice and neat, and I was like, well, that doesn't even, if I have everything nice and neat, I get no prestige for that one. I have to have at least 1 hole. So then I had to add holes.
Yes. What I appreciate about this game is I feel like a lot of tile laying games stop at 2 levels, where a lot of them would have stopped at you have your seedlings and then you put your plants, or you have your seedlings and then you do your tiles. But I really like that you have your seedlings, you have your plants, and then you have your tiles. And you have to pay attention the entire way, which I didn't do at the beginning of this, is I didn't pay close enough attention to what my plants needed to get in the garden. So I put some here that I didn't actually need, or that didn't serve the purpose of getting these tiles down. So I really appreciate just the depth that there is, that it's not just a couple of layers of tile. That 3rd layer having 3 steps to getting your final tile on and having to pay attention to the details along the way, I really appreciate about it.
Yeah, I do too. I love the dominoes of the tiles, like the fact that it's 2-sided and you place it in there. I love domino tile laying, kind of like King Domino and that type of thing. Speaking of which, this plays great at younger levels.
Yes.
Peyton, he's 8. He loves this game.
Had no problem picking it up.
Not at all.
There were
Jared thought he was going to win when we played earlier. He was like, I got this, and then he didn't end up winning. He was like,
But we played the whole game. I think there were maybe 2 rules checks on our first game, and that was mainly confirming what happened.
Was it 2? I thought it was just 1.
It wasn't more than 2.
Yeah.
So the rules are really simple.
They are.
It was really easy to pick up. Everyone went, and it moves so fast because I love games that have one action you can do during your turn.
You have different choices to do.
With 4 players, it moved at a pretty good pace. With 2 players, it was and we didn't talk a lot while we were playing.
No, we were listening to music.
And we were also just paying attention to what we were doing. So we were almost taking our turns on top of each other, where she'd take a tile, and while she was trying to figure that out, I was taking my turn and deciding what I was going to do.
It was nice because I would lay that down and be like, okay, it's my turn.
So
it was very
there was
streamlined.
no downtime in a 2-player game. Even in a 4-player game, there was minimal downtime.
Yeah.
And it moved very quickly, but at 2 players, there was no downtime.
Yeah. Now, again, this is a prototype, so there may be some things changed, but I do really love, like, even the texture on these tiles, on the print,
It feels
I love
finished.
It feels finished. You've got, I mean, these are little wheelbarrows. Now we have a 4-player. I think it might go up to 5 when it's all said and done. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
It had that. Now 25th Century also has Kohaku, which is one of my favorite tile laying games. Yeah. It's so relaxing. That one is solo, which I like playing. This one is not solo yet. I hope that they come out with a solo, but it has that same relaxing feel and that same solo feel. I am focused on my area, like I said before, so it has that. I like that type of relaxing game, like Kohaku. It really did remind me of that.
Now, with 4 players, there's 2 different boards. With 4
That's
players,
true.
there are more pedals. And I will say at 4 players, it was, and this isn't a knock on the game, this isn't a bad thing, but there was more frustration built into the game because you have to jump
so
over
far
people.
Away.
If someone is on a tile, or a pedal, you can't land there. You have to go past them.
Right.
So if someone is on a pedal you need, then you can't get it that round.
Now, you do have your flower pot, which allows you can spend it once per game, and you're allowed to spend it, and that you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I have used that in my, because like I'll get a tile, and then I'm like, oh, I really need that one under it. So I will take that, spin my flower pot, and go all the way around.
Yeah.
You also have, because once you put things in your garden, they're locked in. So you do have this watering can, and if you spin that once per game, you're allowed to shift one tile around. You can move one tile, or you can switch
swap 2.
two.
Yeah.
You can do that once per game.
Yep.
There's been a few times I had to do that at the very beginning. This game we played, I had to, like, right away, I was like, I need to use this or it's gonna mess me up.
Yeah. So I feel like at 2 players, there's very little player interaction or very little.
It's just, are you done?
Yeah. The other player is not impacting the game very much. For, like, you're not impacting the game for each other very much because there's only 2 people taking tiles and 2 people on the board. A 2-player game is very much focused on completing your garden. A 4-player game was just as much of that focus, but there was also a lot more focus on
more time focusing
how I was
on
going to
where
move around the
people were.
board. Was I going to spend resources to get where I needed to go so that I could get that before someone else got it? There was just a lot more consequence to the other players. I just felt it was much more competitive at 4 players than at 2 players, just in competitive being interaction and competition between players to get tiles, to get resources, even just to land on the spot that you need to get the resources you wanted to get. There were often other players where you wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, I like this game a lot. I will say I have not won it yet, but that's not saying much because a lot of games that I really like, I still have yet to win. So I want to play this again and see if I can get a win out. But it's gorgeous. We are stepping into winter right now, and I feel like this is kind of a breath of spring air that we can look forward to. So it's on Kickstarter now. We'll leave a link below where you can check that out while you're down there. Be sure you check that subscribe button,
And the like button, hit the bell, all of that.
We also have some videos right over here that you can check out. We will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.